Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Val's Corner. I am your host, Valerie Bropleh, and you're having Corner Conversations with Val. Welcome back, guys. We are on, I believe, episode 3 of our relationship series, and I'm excited and nervous for this episode, I'm not gonna lie, because if you can tell by the topic, you're probably like, Val, what do you know about this? I'm like, I know nothing. So but I brought women who have experience with this topic. So if you can tell, we're talking about divorce and what does that look like for Christian women and for those who got remarried. Because I have two POV. I have our deaconess Kathy here. And I also have my deaconess Lotta here, who got remarried after her divorce. So, yeah, you get to hear two perspectives from one who is single and divorced and one who divorced and got remarried. So, and they're both women of God, obviously, deaconess. To come with power, you have to be a strong, standing woman of God to get that title. So I'm pretty excited and nervous, and this also just going to be a learning experience for me as well, because I know nothing about divorce. People in my family don't get divorced. So, my grandma did. She broke the change because she just wanted to be different. So she got remarried as well. But it's a topic I want to get educated about, because many times as Christians, no one really talk about divorce. It's kind of like a negative stigma, like, why you getting divorced? Marriage is a holy covenant. But when I was studying and reading, it's like there are circumstances where a Christian could get divorced. There are, where God will allow it. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, God allows it. Like God's not saying to stay in a relationship where it's not benefiting you, but like there are not stances, but like things that will allow you to get divorced. And we're gonna hear a little bit of that in this episode. So I hope you guys listen and let them share their story and be open, because as Christian, we need to have an open mind to everyone's testimony and what they're going through, and just not judge. So,
amen.
You guys who wants to start off by talking? They're very shy. I'm not gonna lie. I got the two shyest people for this episode.
No, there's actually one.
No, we both are.
We both are, but
we both work behind the scenes.
Yes,
very much so. So when I got this time, I'm like, are you sure? Like one, divorce is like, I've never been divorced. I've never been in a relationship, let alone divorce. So I was like, when he said that, I'm like, what do you mean? I had to go back and like, what do you mean? Like, seriously, what do you mean? And then when he said Lotta and Kathy, I was like, you sure? I don't know, they're going to say yes. Because before I asked you guys.
I
thought
about more than once.
Yeah, so did I. I thought about it. And
say no?
To say, yeah, just because, I mean, it's something that I really don't speak about.
I know. I don't really know you guys, especially Kathy. So when he said, I'm like, I don't know her story. Like, I don't know her testimony. I knew you were divorced, but I didn't know the history behind it. So I was like, I don't know if she's going to say yes. Because before I asked you guys, I had this like topic for like 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was just sitting there.
Yeah.
So I was scared. I was like, they're going to say no. I don't know what we're going to do. So I'm very thankful you said yes, because from what I've heard a little bit of, you have a very powerful testimony. And I feel like it's part of, like, your testimony is part of who you are, made you the woman you are. So, Kathy looks scared. But I'm going to start with you, Lotta.
All right.
If you don't mind sharing a little bit about how you got married, like the first time.
Okay. Wow. The first time. Mm-hmm. So when I got married, like I told you the other day, I was only 20. I wasn't even an adult yet. Mm-hmm. I met my ex-husband through church, and I ended up getting pregnant. Mm-hmm. Yes, I ended up getting pregnant, and
out of wedlock, or you?
Out of wedlock.
Okay.
Yeah, I got pregnant out of wedlock. I didn't find out that I was pregnant. I just came here. Let me start with this. So I had, after high school, after I, graduated high school, me and my sisters and, my mom, we moved back home to Costa Rica. Mm-hmm. My dad stayed behind just to work for a little bit more, save more money. And I came here to visit him. And in that, I think I was only here for like maybe 2-3 weeks. And during that time, that's where I met my husband.
Okay.
My ex-husband. So when we hang out, whatever, for like a week, and things happen. I ended up getting pregnant. I didn't find out that I was pregnant until I got back home. Yeah, so I only hang out with, my ex-husband for like a week before anything. And then I went to Costa Rica, and then I came back to marry him. Without really...
Would you say your
knowing
parents
him.
forced you? Like, did they
They
know?
didn't force me
Okay.
at all. As a
All right.
matter of fact, my parents told me not to get married. And me being the rebellion child that I was back then, I was like, the more you tell me not to do something, I'm going to do it. And I ended up coming back and marrying him. Married a person that I didn't really know at all.
Yeah.
And clearly, I didn't even know I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up getting married.
That's really interesting. I can't imagine getting married at 20.
I know.
Oh,
And
that's
I tell
scary.
people, you just, you think you know it all at that age, people think that they know it all.
Yeah.
Again, just me being rebellion too. I was like, hey, I'm gonna get married. I'm in love. Yeah.
She's gonna have a baby. Okay, that's wow.
And then boom.
How about you, Kathy?
So I got married at 21. You know, when most people are legal and you could do whatever.
Yeah.
I got married at 21. I knew my ex-husband. I saw what happened is my mother's boyfriend was his brother. And we met. We were just friends. But funny enough, someone liked him and, kind of rebellious. Like, I know he likes me, so I'm going to date him. But the reality is you had two broken kids because I was 2 years older than him. So I was 21, he was 19. We got married. We didn't have the girls. We waited for a while. I got pregnant. And honestly, I should have never gotten married. We had fights after fights, even dating. The same thing. My mother said, Kathy, are you sure you want to get married? And I was like, yeah, I'm in love. Got married within 3 months. The reality is people thought I was pregnant. I was not pregnant. Did I have, marriage before? Did I have sex before marriage? Yes.
Okay.
But reality is we should have never gotten married. We were two broken kids. He was raised by his father. I was raised by my mother. So, unfortunately, how they say, I didn't know me. He didn't know himself. He had came from El Salvador, young, went to school. He had a strict father. I had a strict mother. And, it's kind of those things that your mentality, you're kind of dumb and young.
Yeah.
You really think like, ooh, by getting married, I'm going to be able to do things.
Yeah.
Well, the reality is no.
No.
I wasn't able to do anything because I got pregnant at the age of 23 and had my girls.
We didn't even get to experience, what most people experience in their 20s. You know what I mean?
So,
Like, you guys didn't get to go on trips, like hang out with your
No,
friends?
at least she
because-
got to date. I didn't even get to date. I went home for 2 months. Like I said, I went out with him for like a week while I was here visiting. I went home, came back, and got married a week later. So at least she got to date. I didn't get to do none of that.
But see, the difference is we were fighting. It was bad, and when I say bad, it was bad. There should have never been a relationship at all.
So there were red flags.
There were red flags all over. To the point where I knew there were red flags, but the reality was you're young and you think this is love and you think you're going to change that person. That's the reality. You think you're going to change them. We're touching a subject that I don't touch at all.
Yeah.
There was physical. So reality was there was physical even in the dating part. So to get to the next level on getting married, We tried. When I tell you, I tried everything. We stayed in the marriage. I mean, I stayed in the marriage for 20 years.
Wow.
Difference is, paper-wise, 20 years. But in the natural, we were on and off. I mean, he'd come and go whenever he pleased. And the reality was, I didn't know who I was. And, marriage was something that I wanted badly. I wanted to stay in a marriage because, like you said, divorce wasn't really a thought for me.
Or a thing.
It wasn't, you think when you question what the word says,
Yeah.
reality is they keep telling you there is no divorce, there's no divorce, and you can't remarry. So your mentality is the whole entire time you're thinking, oh my God, I can't divorce.
Yeah.
I should still be married. But the reality is he wasn't even living with me.
Oh.
He wasn't living with me. So when I tell you the first 3 years while I had the girls, he was at the house and everything. And then he left, had his relationships out there. I mean, there were other kids that he had and has. I mean, I don't know them. They don't know me. But I still felt that, I am the wife.
Yeah.
I got this, but it just kept going. And then I got pregnant the second time, 3 years later. And until one day I realized, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Now it wasn't love, and it wasn't not love from him, it was also not love from myself.
Yeah.
And, my kids were watching this. And the reality is, as a parent, you don't want your children to see things,
Yeah.
but they did see things. So until I finally decided, no more. I have to love me. And I kind of like ran, and I ran to the point where I had to go and say, this is it.
Before you guys got married, like, were you a believer? Like, did you go to church? Were you like reading your Bible? Like, were you a woman of God then? When you got married?
No.
In my case, I was born in a Christian home from my mom's side. So I was born in a Christian home. I went to church. My parents, when I was like the age of, I forgot if it was 7 or 8, my parents were youth pastors at their church. So I was raised in a.
But you weren't like a
Christian
practicing
home.
Christian.
No, I
Okay.
was not. I'm not gonna sit there. A lot of people, anybody can say that they're Christian.
Yeah.
It's
true.
Yeah, you wasn't walking with Christ.
Yeah, no, I definitely was not. Because I was out there being crazy.
How are you, Kathy?
I was Catholic. And so reality, reading the word, no. I did give like CCD classes, so I did teach kids. But to say that I actually sat down and read the word, no, not at all.
Okay.
I mean, I'd be lying to you.
Same. I was raised Catholic. I didn't even have a Bible. I just did the confirmation things.
No,
Funny enough, we had a Bible, but it was always open to Psalms 91
on the table.
It was a little dusty, but it was open. The enemy could read the scripture, but we didn't read it.
Okay, that makes sense. Because that was my next question was going to be like, did you guys like how you were, because you stayed with your husband for what, 20 years, you said? So like within that time period, like with all this is going on, he's like leaving, like not really in the marriage, but on paper you were legally married. So did you have like a support system like telling you to like end the marriage?
My mom. My mom was
Wow.
my biggest support system. For the longest, the day of the wedding, I will say that my mother and my grandmother, my grandmother, she was Christian. So she would say to me, you do know that you could say no. You don't have to go through this. And my mother just looked at me and said, you don't have to go through this, Kathy. And it was weird because my mother said to my grandmother, my daughter is going to have tears in her eyes for the next couple of years.
Wow.
So sadly, my mother saw things that I didn't see.
And they're always, parents always know.
Yes, they do.
Parents always know.
There was one.
That's why, as a parent, when we say to our children and they don't listen, it's like, look, I didn't listen.
you
So
didn't
I know
listen.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And most of the time, we're not telling them just because, hey, I don't want you to do this. No, it's because we're trying to save you
The headache.
the headache and the trouble that comes with all that.
Yeah, my grandma always say, like, growing up, she's like, I'm not telling you these things because I'm just telling it. It's 'cause I'm telling you these things because I did it. I know the end result. So I, like, don't do what I did, but learn from my mistakes, she always tell me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, Grandma, you was out here, you know, Grandma's wild.
No, but I've also learned that even though sometimes we try to stop you, well, not you, per
Like
se,
your
in
kids,
general,
yeah.
kids, you know, it's hard to learn that, they have to go through their own,
Yeah,
little difficult seasons.
yeah.
And it's
fall
hard to
down.
let go. And sometimes they have to, touch rock bottom for God to
That is
bring
true.
it back up.
That's true.
Bring it back
You have to
up.
get burned first.
Yeah.
For you, did you have anyone? Because you literally went.
Well,
did
my
you have anyone?
parents were like, listen, don't get married. You can stay here, have the baby here, and we'll help you. We'll be okay. So my parents did not agree to this marriage at all. I remember sitting. As a matter of fact, Pastor Glenn was the one who married me and my ex-husband, and I remember being at the restoration, the little church.
Yeah.
Oh my God, my dad's face. I remember my dad's face. He was just sitting there like this.
Oh.
And he was had this just blank look in his face. And I was like...
And that still didn't deter you.
No, because like I said, at that time I was just being rebellious. I was just like, this is what I'm doing and I'm grown and that was it. I was like, I'm pregnant now. I have to get married. I have to,
Okay.
But yeah.
At any point during like the marriage, did you guys feel ashamed or like, I don't want to say the word dumb, but like, did you ever feel dumb for staying?
Oh,
Even
I
with
do.
the kids?
I did. I felt dumb for staying. Like, oh my goodness, during the marriage, after the marriage, to this day, I'm like, what the heck was I doing? And even though we didn't know each other when we first got married, and he came with a lot of baggage, I came with a lot of baggage. There was still a lot of things that like Kathy said, we didn't know who we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt so. I mean, we still made it last legally, 14 years
Wow.
together for 13.
Wow.
But at that point,
You at
it's
least had him there. I didn't even have him
that's tough. And there were times where I do remember asking for divorce twice before the last one. And we went through marriage counseling and Pastor Glenn and all this stuff. And, you try to stay for the kids and you try to stay because, marriage and, the Christian
Like,
world
divorce
or
is just not a
whatever,
word.
It's just like, no, I want to be like my parents. They've been together for this long. I want to have that. And like Kathy said, you think you can change that person and no, you end up actually harming yourself.
Did you fight Kathy? Because she says she went to marry. Like, did you guys go to counseling? Did you try to seek? Like, were you going to church by then? Like, while you guys were doing those 20 years you're married, did you, like, build your relationship with God during that period?
We did. Well, not we. I did. One day I hit to the place where they say rock bottom. And funny enough, I went to Restoration. I had driven past Restoration years ago. And if you know, I lived in Jackson, so it has this little church, and you had to cut through Church Road to go to Walmart.
Yeah.
And I remember just driving one day, and I was like, oh my God, they look so happy. I wanted that because I didn't have it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to experiment, like, you go to a Catholic church, and, nothing against anybody that's Catholic that is watching this. But the reality is you don't have that. You just walk in.
Yeah.
You make the sign of the cross.
That's it.
You
That's
receive,
it.
and you go home, and everything is done.
That's it. Yeah.
But there it was like they were all in the parking lot, like they weren't leaving. And I'm telling you, I mean, like I could have caused an accident because I was driving and I was watching it, and I kind of turned back around. I did a K-turn because I was like, let me just see if this is like, because you're thinking like, ooh, is this, am I really seeing this?
Yeah.
Is God really showing me this? So I just watched the people, and I'll never forget one Thursday I went in and that was prayer. And it was the weirdest thing because I walked in, and I don't know if they still do, but if you knew the worship team, that's their day that they would practice. I walked in, and I remember I heard everybody giggling, but I had read, that they had had prayer.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize I went so early. But it was my hunger, that it was something that was calling me to go.
That's good.
And it was crazy because I walked in, and as they were practicing, I could hear, them giggling. I closed my eyes. And when I tell you, it was one of those things that you just close your eyes and you don't know what's going around.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I hear no more giggling. And it's just quiet. And I only hear the piano playing. And it was really, really quiet. So when I kind of opened my eyes, it's dark because they had turned off the lights. So I was thinking, oh, wow, it's dark, and this guy's just playing the piano for me because there was no one else. And then all of a sudden I kept hearing, because I closed my eyes, and I could hear the little, like, steps. And it was just like, when I tell you, one of those days that all I did was just cry. And I just cried and cried and cried. And I said, God, I don't know you. So, you know how like people say they go to church and, somebody touches them and they pray over them? No, nobody touched me. The Holy Spirit himself touched me.
That's beautiful.
And I just cried and I said, God, I don't know you. And I'm tired. I'm running. I'm scared. I don't know if tomorrow's promised. I don't know if I'm going to live tomorrow, if my kids are going to see, because the reality is, you're touching a place where I've never opened up.
Yeah.
So I had thought of suicide. So when you think of how you could be dumb and naive and everything, I just said, I just want to die. Like, just take me. Just take me. And, you have all these thoughts in your mind because when the enemy's real, and when he talks to you and you actually open up that portal, that door, he
That's
just
it, yeah.
speaks to you. And he did. It was where I was just like, I could just die. I could just grab my van, because I had a minivan. Yes, I did. it was comfortable, but I also had 4 kids.
Yeah.
And they were all in like Matthew and sports and everything. But my mind was, I'll just crash into the wall. Like all these things. When I tell you, you don't even realize where you're at. So finally, when I tell you that out of nowhere, Pastor Glenn, he said, okay, I need everybody to come up to the altar. And then everybody puts their petitions. I didn't put in a petition. I just stayed quiet, and I was listening to people say, oh, pray for this. My family member has cancer. My family member this, my friend.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. I said, Lord, I'm not going to say anything. I said, they have worse. Like, because I was listening to people with, cancer and diabetes. Yeah. So I was thinking mine was wasn't, like, what are you talking about? You're married. Get up, shake it off, because that's also the thing. All you hear is, we're going to take this. This is a grown-up.
You go ahead. Yeah.
You take it back to the bedroom.
Yeah.
You do it, and then that's it. You know what? We're good.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get to the point where, tomorrow it's just another day.
Yeah.
But it was crazy because I was like, I'm not gonna put it in, and I'm not gonna say anything. They're gonna be like, really? You can't pray yourself out? Like, you don't know that God could save your marriage? And that was my mentality, where I didn't want to say anything, but Pastor Glenn prayed, and then he started, where the Holy Spirit started ministering to him, and he started saying things that I was like, oh my God, oh my God. Like,
Those be
somebody
scary.
Yes,
Somebody
because
told me
your
something.
mentality is like, did somebody say something?
Yeah.
You know, and then you just look to your right, you look to your left, and they're like, this person doesn't, because I knew nobody. I mean,
Yeah.
when I tell you, you know how people say, oh, I'm going to go to a church that nobody knows me? Literally, I went to a church where nobody knew me. And they couldn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, he's saying this. Who said something? And I'm looking at each person and I'm going down and I'm like, I don't know that lady. I definitely don't know him.
Yeah.
You know, but you come to a place where you're just like, okay, you know what, whatever. And I just closed my eyes, and as they're praying in the petitions, little by little, I was like, okay, you know what, I'm going to come to church. But I still didn't go on a Sunday. I still didn't go.
But you went on Wednesdays? Tuesdays?
I went on Thursdays.
Oh, prayer night?
I
prayer
only went on prayer night, and
Prayer
it
night.
was crazy because, and this is how God is so good.
Yeah.
Pastor Jeannie walked up to me and she said, you know, we have on Fridays, you know, every something, I don't even remember exactly, but they have a women's ministry, and you know, it's something. I'm the keeper. I can't even remember, but I think she's my keeper or something. And I was like, oh, okay. And out of nowhere, Pastora walked up to me and she was like,
Our pastor?
our pastor.
Ooh,
Pastor Liz.
Pastor Liz.
She said, I have I will be teaching. And I said, oh, okay. And then I was like, okay. So, and I'm looking at her like,
And you
Like-
started going, you've been there since then?
no, but it was funny because I looked at her like, okay. But I didn't
didn't
even
go?
bother. No. Funny enough, no, I didn't bother. But then one Sunday I finally decided, okay, this, you know what, go to church.
Yeah.
And they announced it, you know, we're going to have. And it was hers. And it was funny because it was like, I'm going to have the makeup because I guess I was supposed to have. So I did. I went. And it was funny because I went with two of my friends. And actually, I went with my girls. And I went to Pastora's house she lived in Jackson at that time. And first of all, we didn't know where we were going. So when I tell you, it's this huge house, and I'm like, did we get the right? I said, so I threw one of my friends. I said, you go. I said, and you say that we're the cleaning lady. I said,
Oh my God.
yes, because you know they were big. They were big houses. I mean, if you know,
I'm the cleaning lady.
Pasora's house.
Yeah,
she lived
the
in
one in
Jackson.
Jackson? Yes, it was huge.
Wow.
So I was
Yeah, it
like,
was
so I threw
huge.
one of
The
my
cleaning
friends,
lady.
and I said, just go. I said, we're Latinas. You know, we could pass as cleaning lady. No, it was not even a cell. It was
God.
it was a women's it was crazy because it
Get
rained
together.
that day. So when I tell you rain, it rained. And it was funny because I'll never forget. I said, go. I said, Kayla, you go. I said, we'll stay behind. Remember my friend
Yes,
Kayla?
Kayla,
I
I
said,
remember
Kayla, go. Because, you know, she was the youngest.
Yeah.
Tallest, but the youngest. And, you know, she was very naive. So she did. She went right away. And she was like, this is the house. This is the house. So we walk in. And Kayla and my friend Maribel, they were, you know, like sitting. And the craziest thing, Pastora said, I'm going to put the song on and I want you to see what God ministers to you. And I'll never forget, it was Shekinah. It's the funniest thing because Shekinah Ministry, and it's the song Yes.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the words, so now if you haven't,
I listened to it. I have it.
if
I
you
have
haven't
it.
listened to it,
Yeah,
you have
I've
to
heard
listen
it.
to it. Because each word was just, little by little, it just touched me. And from there, that's actually how I started going to church. It just started from literally a
prayer
women's
night.
a prayer night, and then a women's ministry. And then from there, you know.
Now we got Deaconess Kathy.
Well, at least
Thank you.
I've been church all the time, and I was going to church, but I'm not gonna lie, I was in and out of church.
She was in and out.
In
Okay.
and out, and I was a bench warmer. Yep, I was one of
Oh,
those.
you-
I
you-
know.
wait,
I was
wait,
the
wait.
quiet one. I would not raise my hands. I was so shy. I would not raise my hands. I would sing or whatever, but yeah, no.
So
Did you
she's-
have an
wait,
encounter?
She's the one that, you know, they say, there's Deacon Henry and Deaconess Laura go. Wait, she was the one that, the bench warmers.
So you can relate to them. I was a bench warmer. Come to Growth Track. I can tell you. Don't be a bench warmer like me. Like I was. But that's, wow. That's a pretty,
It's crazy,
wow.
huh?
Wow. Okay.
So now you're like, oh, wow.
Wow, I did not know that. So I was like, I'm also learning about them guys, because Kathy don't share, guys. So this is really...
Kathy's always behind the scenes because remember, I'm covering Pastora with prayers. So
right.
the reality is,
I
shouldn't be in the midst because my eyes have to be vigilant to see what's going not only naturally but also in the spiritual realm. Because remember, like Laura said, not everybody that comes to church is coming with the good spirit.
That's true.
There are people that come in to divide churches and to break and tear down. So you have to be vigilant, not only in the natural but also in the spiritual realm.
Definitely. So within that period, like you found God, you had a relationship with. Were you like a consistent? Like, did you become a consistent Christian? Because it's leading up to a question as well. So it's like, were you faithful even okay? So.
I started going to cell, and actually I was going to Pastor Glenn's, where he lived in Lakewood. So I went there. I went there faithfully. It was good. It was a season of breaking and purging to the point where I was also learning. The big joke is, I don't know if you've ever heard when someone says, "Oh, I found this Bible." Well, Pastor Glenn, I was under Pastor Glenn's teaching, and he always taught us. First, he taught me how to read the Bible, to actually not carry around my cell phone. So I was like,
you had the physical Bible.
I actually he taught me how to read the Word. Because the reality is, and Laura wouldn't understand, but you would understand. You go to a Catholic church.
Yeah.
He's, the
priest.
No, what is it in English? Monaguillos.
The readers?
The young boys.
The
altar boys.
The altar boys.
I was the altar server. I was the altar server.
Okay, so
I was the altar girl.
So
altar server.
They would carry, the Bible,
but their Bibles was different.
They would carry this big book.
Yeah.
It was a huge book.
Huge.
I could still remember. It's a huge book.
And it's red for some reason.
Was it red?
Ours was red. It was like, it had this red covering. I don't know. I don't remember it because it was red.
I don't remember the color, but I can remember it was this big book and they carry it. And then you have the other ones that are carrying, I guess, the Holy Communion, or I don't remember exactly how it was.
Oh, that was during communion. Like they would carry the book, to hold it while he read. Like the book was heavy, and then he would wash his hand, rinse his little finger to give you the communion. This is why I know.
Listen, I don't understand.
It was sanitizing.
I don't understand how no.
It wasn't sanitized.
No jabs to
but
the Catholics. No. If you're a Catholic watching,
that same cup, I don't know.
But here's the crazy thing. So he would have the book, and they did have the books in the pews, but it was already, if you recall, it had dates.
Yeah,
so
for each reading.
Each Sunday has a specific
reading.
Yep. So it's not like the Holy Spirit said,
it's leading
read, today, Valerie, you're going to read, the Holy Spirit ministers to you to read the book of Luke.
Yeah.
I'm only saying Luke because that's where I'm at. But the Holy Spirit didn't have it unless the Holy Spirit told them, look, this is a whole...
Because it was predestined for the whole year. I think if the Pope do or something, because every Catholic church was the same reading. So it's like, let's say next week Sunday, there's a reading, but it wasn't a sermon.
No.
They would just read it and it was consistent. Every
and no offense, seriously, no offense, because this is not a place where we're throwing shade at.
It's different,
but it's different because when and it's crazy because when you think about it on a Sunday, when Pastor Elijah will be praying, and it's the craziest thing because one day I prayed all in English and in Spanish, and then. That I actually had to say to Danielle, I was like, oh my God. I said, you were not here at 6 a.m. I was praying all that in Spanish.
Sure.
And you prayed it in English. And
really?
Yes. So when I
The
tell you.
Holy Spirit did that?
Holy Spirit did that. And I actually had to tell her, I was like, oh my God. So if anybody, it might have been somebody next to me that heard me praying in Spanish.
Yeah.
But the reality is, No, she wasn't even there at
She
6
wasn't
a.m.
there.
So it was crazy on how. But yes, so
That's
I learned how to read the word. Pastor Glenn was phenomenal, and he would say, if you leave your Bible, you grab that Bible, if somebody finds it, and Valerie left her Bible, shame on Valerie. Cross Valerie's name out
Wow.
and put your name on it. Yes,
That is true.
Yes.
He did used to say
he was
that.
encouraging y'all to just
He
take
did.
Bibles.
Yes, because you know what?
You in church, you know.
That's your weapon.
That's yeah.
That's a weapon. That's
Yeah.
not that was your weapon. That is a weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, it says it. It's clearly it's your full armor. That is part. The word is your armor.
true.
So for me, I started learning how to read the word, and then I started getting myself to going into cell groups, and it was nice because cell groups. It's like, perfect Elevation Wednesday. That's when you get the
meat.
The meat.
Yeah.
You get
Meat
down to
of-
the core
yeah.
of, Sunday's phenomenal, but you're just taking, bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But that was where I got my feeding.
Yeah.
So I was able to ask questions where it was like, oh, I didn't know that. And oh, I didn't know, Luke was not, one of Jesus' apostles. When you go back to it and you're like, wow, I mean, 12 disciples. Da, da, da.
You were learning.
You're learning.
You're literally learning.
But he would break it down, and yes, from there, that's how I got myself into going every. Oh my gosh, I can't remember now. Was it Wednesdays or was it Tuesdays? So I think
cell
it's
groups,
Tuesdays.
it was
Tuesdays, right?
Tuesdays or Wednesdays. I know we used to have Bible study Tuesdays at
Tuesdays, I
the
think.
annex, but then cell was on Wednesdays.
I can't remember, but you're talking a
Yeah.
couple years back.
Yeah.
And you're also getting a little older, but I know for a fact Thursdays was prayer. And so, I mean, it just...
At least she used to go to prayer. I'm not gonna.
I
I'm
was gonna ask
very
you,
honest with you. God was not in the middle of my marriage. That's what I can say to you.
Okay.
I did not have him in the middle of the marriage. I was very shy. I was in and out of church.
When did your moment come? Like was it after your divorce or was it during your divorce when you not found God, but you decided to pursue a relationship with God?
When I came to Hope.
So after you got divorced.
After I had got divorced and
Okay.
after I had already remarried.
Oh.
Because I got the divorce, whatever, I didn't go to church. Maybe I did go to Grace and Peace for like maybe 6 months, maybe a year after I had gotten divorced. And then after that, we didn't go to church for like a good amount of time. It was like maybe 9 years.
When you got remarried?
No, when I decided to come back to church.
You waited 9 years. Can I ask why?
I was just not, I guess I was disappointed in a way.
At God?
I was just going to ask.
Or
Not
yourself?
at God, but just the experience of church. I guess you could say church hurt, okay?
Yeah, I was reading
Let's
it. I was
I
like,
know people
did you
keep
have
saying that word,
church
but yeah,
hurt?
church hurt.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Does exist.
It's a real thing,
Yes.
but
So it took me a while to,
come
and
back.
not just, when I first come to Hope, we kind of like, Henry wanted to just visit other churches, which we also know is just church hopping, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's when I decided to finally take God serious, and it was
Interesting.
when I came to Hope.
So you say you were in and out of church.
Yeah.
So like, was it like also the relationship with your parents because they were youth pastors and things like that? Did that play a part into your church hurt?
No. I mean, but it's just the whole experience of it. You see things in the church that it's just kind of like, is there something that I can stand? Is what's the word that I'm looking for? When you have cliques,
Oh, cliquey churches.
cliquey churches.
Okay.
That if you don't have a certain
Demeanor, certain
demeanor,
personality.
if you don't wear certain stuff,
Yeah.
or if you don't drive certain this or certain that, then you're kind of like here.
that could be
That's
damaging to
kinda
a,
like,
to a person, especially.
A lot of the reasons why I wouldn't, share is because I felt like I was going to be judged. And then on top of that, I had trust issues.
Yeah.
So I was not willing to open up. And I also felt like, now thinking about it, it was just not the time.
Yeah.
It was just not the time.
Yeah.
And,
I'm glad you came to Ho. I love you, Loretta.
I love it.
For you ladies, you came to church after you got remarried, and then you start. But with you, Kathy, for you, when you started going to church, growing your relationship with God, and things like that, did that inspire your husband? Because you guys were still like married technically, and even though he was back and forth, like, did that inspire him? But also, did that also inspire you to want to get out while you were growing your relationship with God?
So we actually did counseling with Pastor Glenn. He really did want to try. But sadly, when you're so deep into, doing creeping and stuff like that,
Yeah.
it's hard.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to bash on him because he's my kid's father.
Yeah.
So I also have to be mindful.
Yeah.
But I prayed for the man. And when I tell you I prayed, but like one thing that my mother would say to me in Spanish, it says, "You no puedes ir contra la corriente." You can't go against the current. So, perfect example, salmon. The salmon fish, they go against the current. So when the water is moving, they're going against, the regular freshwater fish and, salt water. They all coast. They go where the wave takes them. They don't. They go the opposite. That was what my life was. I was going against, and I did. I tried the counseling, and he tried it. But it's funny because I'll never forget. It was a Sunday. Pastor Glenn preached. I mean, I can't remember the sermon, but whatever it was confirmation. It was, Kathy, no more.
That's beautiful.
No more. And when I tell you, I went home, and the man was like, because the man was a workaholic. I will say the man worked and did phenomenal. But marriage-wise, no.
Okay.
And he was sleeping, and I said, "You got to get up." So he was like, "Oh, I was going to go to church with you." I said, No. I said, "You don't have to go to church with me." I said, "You got to get up. You got to pack." And he looked at me and he said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "You got to go." I said, "No more. You got to go."
And it's crazy you say that, because the third time when I finally asked my ex-husband for like a divorce, there was no argument.
Wow.
There was no argument.
Did you guys feel a sense of peace?
There was no argument. It was just like a peace came in, and it's just like, and then I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry.
Let me tell you something.
Can't do this.
It's the funniest thing because you have 3 women here.
Yeah.
Like you said, you've never been married, so you don't understand that. And I pray that you never have to understand that.
Yes.
But the one thing, and tell me I'm not wrong, men think that, like, when we're arguing, that's when you have nothing to worry.
Listen, if we start arguing,
when we don't argue,
when we get quiet,
that's when you got to
when
worry.
we get quiet, when we don't argue, when we don't ask you where you're going,
Nope.
when you
That's
don't,
when- yeah, that's
when
a
we're
scary-
like,
that's when a woman is the most scary.
This is what we tend to do.
Yeah.
We tend to stay.
Yeah.
We tend to write it out. We tend to, but we also tend to leave the relationship way before we actually call it.
Yeah.
So
Like,
it's
we're
funny.
done.
I get that a lot. There's a quote, like, a woman mentally checks out.
When we shut down,
We shut
that's
down.
when you really should worry as
Yeah.
a man.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
scary.
you, but once I shut down, it was like I want out.
We
Mm-hmm.
we
And
just get
literally-
emotionally detached, and that's the very dangerous place to be at.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, you don't even think, it's so crazy because you don't even think financially. Because in the beginning you do, you're like, oh my God,
What am I gonna do?
what am I gonna do?
The
you know,
kids,
money, the man made, it was funny because when you think about it in the natural,
Yeah.
I made more.
Wow.
But
Okay.
in the normal, you would think he made more. But the difference was he had to work so many hours to make more than me. But the reality was I was making more because I was on salary. So I didn't have to work as much as he did.
Okay.
But because at that time you're dumb.
Yeah.
You don't
You're younger.
realize.
Yeah.
You don't realize. No, you're bringing in. You're bringing in money.
Yeah.
And we had just bought the house. So for me, I had the house in Freehold that I was trying to sell, and then we have the house in Jackson
Okay.
that we just got into it. So it's kind of like, how are you gonna make this?
Yeah.
How are you gonna do this? You gotta like go into bankruptcy, and it's like, oh my God, bankruptcy.
Yeah.
You're afraid.
Yeah.
So moving forward, I was like, no, I'm out, and you gotta go.
Did he fight you on it?
Funny enough, he did.
He did?
He did.
Wow. Really?
But he fought me stupidly because he used the kids against me. Actually, he used Angelica against me.
Wow.
And it was horrible because Angelica she was young. She was 14, 15 when I said it. So it took until their 16th birthday because the reality was the girls were 15 and then we were celebrating their 16th birthday. And I mean, he did me dirty even at the Sweet 16.
Wow.
That's where I was like,
Wait, you were still married
we were still married.
at their 16?
We were still married. And
I don't remember him at all.
No, because he came in like maybe a couple of times, but it was crazy because a pastor came from Boston, and when I tell you that pastor just threw things at him like boom, boom, that he looked and he was like, "You told him everything." I said, "First of all, I don't even know who that pastor is."
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything. I said, "But no worries." I said, "You're out. You got to go."
Yeah.
So he waited a while. He was like, "You got to give me a bit." And I don't even know why. I was like, "Sure." But we lived in separate rooms.
Okay.
And he tried creeping a couple of times and it was like, "No,
Yeah. It's good.
we are done. You got to go.
It's good.
You haven't changed. He still had someone." And here's the funny part about the whole entire thing. She was actually a Christian. The one he was creeping with, she was a
Wow.
Christian. She was the one when I called. She was like, "You need to find God." And I'm thinking like, woman, are you like for real?
Wait,
But
seriously?
now it's like, now I laugh about it because, when you think about it, what you lost, I gained.
Yeah.
So through the years,
That's that's like a
I know.
crazy thing. Like you're the wife. You as a believer, like you telling someone you need to find God, but as a Christian woman, shouldn't you feel like a certain way? Like this is someone else's husband.
Like Pastor Liz says, God's people are funny, right?
not
are
every
funny.
They are. I'll say
They
that.
are funny.
That is wild. I've never heard
not
that.
everybody that is in church
Is a believer. That is
is
true.
a
Exactly.
believer.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have somebody there a certain amount of years and
That doesn't mean
they haven't received,
Anything.
The Holy
the
Spirit.
Holy Spirit or even the conviction. That's the word.
Yes.
They haven't received the conviction of anything in life.
That's scary.
And conviction is real.
It is.
As condemnation is also real.
Yes.
So for me, that was my fear, to be condemned and also to be spoken to. But I had a peace. And when I
cool.
tell you that day, that was when I was like, the Sweet 16 had already passed, the time had already, that was when I was like, now you gotta go. You gotta go. And if you don't wanna go, I can help you pack. And he just like looked at me and he said to Angelica, he was like, your mother's crazy. Because that was the other thing. You're always crazy.
Yeah, always.
Just
We're
tell
always
me
there-
we're
we're always
not
the
crazy.
crazy ones.
Anytime
We're
we
always
do
the
something, we're
crazy
crazy.
ones.
But I said, no. I said, you know what, loca? Because in Spanish, loca, crazy. I said, oh, okay, whatever.
fine.
Yeah, I'm
We'll be the
I'm
crazy ones.
crazy. I'm the crazy one. But you got to go. I said,
I'll
you
continue to
got to
say
go.
crazy, but without you.
Like, I'll be crazy,
I'll be
but you
crazy,
still
but
gotta
you
go.
still-
Like I'll help you
gotta
pack.
go.
You can go.
And it was funny because, now that I think about it, my brother laughs at me because he's like, yo, where'd you come up with this? And I was like, I don't even know. Like, now I can't even remember how many, but I counted. I said, you have this door, this door, this door. And, and I counted. Now I can't remember how many doors. I said, but you got all these doors. You could walk out. And I said, and if you want to be Superman, you could jump out of a window too. I said, I don't care which one, but you got to go. I said,
That's tough.
if you need help, I said, the window's open. I said, but I'm going to be nice. I said, you could walk out the front door. I said, you don't have to. I said, and if you feel embarrassed, you could walk out the back door. I said, but I don't care how, but you got to go.
I don't care how you leave, you just gotta go.
And I said, you could take whatever you want. I said, you want the house? I said, you could go for it. Take the house.
Wow.
So for me, it was just like, and then I just went to church, and
That's empowering.
it's empowering.
That's
But I
empowering.
will say, I went to church, and you do get that little like sense of, are they talking or do they know?
Yeah.
So funny enough, I stayed there for a bit, and then I started feeling a little kind of weird.
Yeah.
And I left Restoration. I spoke to Pastor Glenn. I said, I think I said my season is up, and he wasn't too thrilled about it.
Yeah.
But he understood, and I didn't do any I didn't walk out the back door.
Yeah, you did it the proper way.
I did it the proper way, and he was really good because he said, do you have another church you're going to? And I was like, no, I don't know where I'm going. And he was afraid because he thought Kathy's going to get lost.
Yeah.
Because, 7 demons, remember, once the house is clean, 7 demons could jump into you.
Yeah.
So he was afraid that was going to happen. But I did. I went to a church, and talk about... talk about church hurt.
I mean, yeah.
I went to a church, a Christian church, Spanish church.
It's okay. Yeah.
My whole everything changed. It was, I don't want to, because God will work with them.
Yeah.
But I went there, and I got remarried, right? Or did you not know that?
No, I did use that.
Okay. So I go to this church, and they have a son, a spiritual son.
Okay.
Remember, I had just left Restoration, and I had just separated. So I
Yeah.
wasn't even divorced.
You just said, okay.
I was separated. I wasn't even divorced when the pastor said, oh, we have somebody for you. And
Wait.
then yes.
Okay.
And here's the thing. I wasn't going to look for a husband.
Right.
Because I had just separated.
From 20 years. That's a lot.
From 20 years. So the reality is, I still didn't know who Kathy was.
Yeah.
I still didn't
You're still
heal.
trying to figure out.
I still
Yeah.
wasn't delivered. I still wasn't liberated. But I actually, your mentality is thinking, maybe they know something I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the man like, what? Like.
What do you mean?
And he had prayed. That was the funny part. He prayed. And they had said, your wife is coming. So when I walked in, and I'm about his age, they're thinking, Kathy's the wife.
Wow.
This is what Pastor Liz said. Prophecies are the only thing you have the right to judge.
But here's the part. I wasn't there. And because I hadn't been to that church.
So he just said it out loud to the guy.
They prophesied to him. I come to the church, I don't know, 2-3 weeks later, and I'm walking, and I don't know nothing. And she asked me, she's like, are you married? And I said, well, yes and no. And she said, what does that mean? And I said, yes, legally I'm married, and no, he's not in the marriage. He left the house. So she said, oh, so you're not married? I said, well,
No, you still.
I am.
She's still
Because
legally
I'm
married.
still not
Yeah.
divorced.
Yeah.
So, crazy enough, when you want something quickly, you
Yeah.
could get it done quickly. It was the funniest thing because I don't know how they talked me into getting my papers for the divorce, but the reality is I did want to be divorced.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to be remarried.
Right.
So I did because the mentality was, you're not supposed to date, like you're older, you've already tasted meat, so
Yeah.
and you wouldn't understand what I'm talking about, but you would. As somebody that's already experienced, you know what you're missing. If you've never experienced, sex,
Yeah.
you don't know what
You
you're
don't know what
missing.
you're
Yeah.
missing.
So, it's kind of like behind, back there in the mind.
Yeah.
But you don't know. So you can't crave something that you
never had.
haven't had.
Yeah, that's right.
While this is a little extra, sorry. But your mind is like, what are you talking about? And I really didn't want to date. I didn't want to date at all, but it was just like, okay, maybe because they're pastors, maybe they know something that I don't know.
Yeah.
He is a Christian man. He, but he healed for 8 years. He was divorced. He was also divorced. Okay. His story was crazy, and that's for him to say. But he had healed. He had 8 years to heal. I didn't even have months to heal.
That was fresh.
It was fresh. It was
and
like
you
when
didn't heal after you got remarried either.
No. My story is completely. I mean, my story is completely different.
You know how you don't know my story.
I mean,
really now it's like,
I'm really learning. I really am learning.
And I'm gonna share with this the reason why. Remember that one time you guys went with the mic asking everybody to do signs.
I wish we had the clip.
Listen, the reason why I said to heal is because. All right, let's
be honest.
Go back. Let's say my story, not my story. Our story starts when we're born, right? But my story starts at the age of 5, 6 years old, and that's when I was sexually molested by a family member. So you can imagine that at that age, you already have trust issues. Mm-hmm. You already have guilt. You already have shame. You already seen so many things that. And on top of that, it's like your innocence is taken from you.
Yeah.
So, you forgive, but you never deal with those issues. You just kind of like, back in the day when we used to have trash bags at the time, and you take, you just fill that bag with
all the trash bags. Yeah.
Now we have
bags.
Now we have reusable bags.
Yeah.
Right? Now we have reusable bags, and we just keep filling it up till it explodes.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what we do. We tend to do. We tend to just suppress our feelings, our emotions, and just hide them deep within us, right? Yeah. So I dealt with that, didn't deal with that, but that's something that I had to go through. And then through my teenage, I started having sex at a very early age. Mm-hmm. But that was because of what
you were exposed to.
What I was exposed to already. And on top of that, I carried all the shame. I carried all the guilt. I carried all the baggage, the insecurities. I carried it all through my teen years. Yeah. And then, and I'm not going to lie, as a woman, I know it sounds weird to say, not to say, but for people to hear it, I guess, I struggle with pornography.
No, that's not, that's totally normal.
I know, I know nowadays it's a normal thing, but back then it was like... a taboo kind of thing. Like, you don't speak about that stuff. And I know, and that's an issue, too. A lot of people make that now like a normal thing, and it's really not normal.
It shouldn't be,
Right? So when you deal with that, it's actually causing more harm to you. Mm-hmm. So it's just like stuff. You just stuff in, in the bag and just carrying all that stuff with you. And then you go into a marriage, and then life happens, right? Marriage is hard. Now you have kids, and then... you don't know the person that you're being married. I didn't, in my case, I didn't really know the person I was married to. I didn't know that he also had a pornography issue. So that was a major thing in our marriage, too.
Wow.
And on top of that, we didn't go to church. We were in and out of church.
Yeah.
I didn't really serve at the church. I was just so, oppressed.
Yeah.
And I had so much garbage and so much stuff that I didn't deal with. Mm-hmm. And then, I left the marriage. But then... like Kathy, you didn't give yourself enough time to heal from all of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like you jumping into a different marriage and then...
expecting something to be different.
And when Pastor Liz talked about sometimes you wonder why things keep happening.
Because you never
feel
heal.
Like certain things go like in circles, right?
Yeah.
It's because you don't heal. You're not healing.
And you're not learning what God wants you to do.
Just going in a circle.
You just walk in a circle and you try. Mm-hmm. You actually, and let me say, not that you try, you talk to yourself because you say, I'm good.
Yes. I'm big on that word.
I'm good.
Are you okay? I'm good. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're lying.
What is it? I'm blessed, highly favored.
Like your heart is running inside.
That's when he preached that word. It was like, when someone asks you, how are you? And you always say, for instance, I'm good. But he's like, are you really good? Like, your marriage is suffering. Your kids are not saved. You don't know how you're going to pay your... So, you're not good. Like, so now when the people say, I'm like, I changed from I'm good to I'm okay.
Yeah, you learn how
You learn how to just-
you learn how to like just live life, you
Yeah.
know. What is that, the saying that life be lifing?
Oh,
That's
let's be
possible.
like That's
Yeah,
possible.
life be lifing.
Your mentality is life be lifing, and I'm gonna live it,
Yeah.
and I'm okay.
Yeah.
But the reality is, no, you're not okay. You know, you come to a place where I lucked out, and I thank God I have a circle of friends. I mean,
Yeah.
and I will laugh because
Yes.
I have a circle of friends. You know, I have one friend that we've been friends since high school. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, we've been friends since high school. But we laugh because then I have Sharon, that Sharon was from my old job. And Sharon, you gotta be grateful for me because Sharon never spoke. I was the one that spoke to her. I mean, this is a big joke. Yes, Sharon, I did say this, and I say it all the time.
Yes.
But
Sharon didn't. She just started speaking.
but it's funny because you know. And then I have my other friend, Maribel, and each one has a specific role in my life.
Yeah.
Where if I want you to be, to agree with me, I know who to go to. And if I want you to say, no.
Yeah, it's like
Each friend has a-
you know
each
which
friend
friend
has
to
a
go to.
role,
If
yeah.
you want somebody to say
If
yes to
I
you,
want
then you know
somebody
who
to
go
say
to.
that what I need,
Yes.
then I know who to go to. And when I just want somebody just to listen. I don't need you to tell me no. I
Yeah.
don't need you to tell me yes. I just
Just
need
let
you
you
to
vent.
sit
Seriously, yes.
and just listen and just, you know, be that friend.
Yeah.
And so I know each friend who to go to, and they're great with it.
Yeah.
But I laugh because of their friendship, you know, we don't hang out because I mean, the only one I could say that I talk to more than any would be Sharon.
Yeah.
But just in general, like my friend Maribel, I see her once in a blue moon, but when I speak to her, we just pick up like nothing ever happened.
That's
and
good.
my friend
That's
Maria,
beautiful.
you know, when I pick up, we pick up together. But it's crazy because I lucked out that I had friends that I can be me. And you know, I had the days of just laying there and just feeling pity party for me, and to the point that one day it was like, you know, my friend said, "You got to get up, Kathy.
Yeah.
Enough is enough. You got to get up." It's because you know what happens. We let them become our God, and they're not God
At all.
You know, but I have to say, it just, you grow, you learn, and you got to continue moving. You got to continue pressing, because if not, you're going to die, not in the natural, but you die in the physical. And the physical is horrible,
Yeah.
because you come to a place like Laura, you just keep going in a circle. And when do you stop and just look at the roses and say, wow, that rose is, you know, needs to be pruned, or that rose is dying, you know, let me just cut the tree, or, oh, that's pretty, let me cut it and put it in a vase. You have to look at yourself.
Look in the
So,
mirror. Reset
yeah.
her. Shout out
Look in
reset
the
her. Join. Speaking of remarry, so you remarried, but you got divorced.
Yes.
You remarry. We love our Deke. He stayed. Shout out Deke. We love you. So there's two different remarries. So for you, what also motivated you to end that marriage? Because he was a man of God. He was healed. So like.
Well, let's stop on that part.
Okay.
Just because he went to church doesn't mean
Oh, he wasn't a man of
That's
God.
the
He was a
thing.
Christian.
He was a Christian.
Okay.
I won't say that he didn't read the word. He did, but he did more of the judging part. Like he, you know, he didn't experiment himself. It was, they told him do this, he did
So it's
that.
like a religion.
It was a religion, yes.
Okay,
Even
that
though
makes
we're in
sense.
a Christian-based church,
Yeah.
you know, it's a fivefold ministry. Even though we were under a fivefold, he served so much. Like, there was just serving, and you know, all he wanted to do was serve. And I would say to him, it's great to serve because you know, there are churches that you are going to serve. It's going to take a bit, but you also have to know when to sit back and say, I need help.
Yeah.
You know, I need help. I need, you know, I need to go on a sabbatical. I am literally only serving and serving and serving, and I'm not receiving. Or even, and you know what, you don't even have, because some churches are small, so you only have a certain amount of people, and you're going to have to serve.
Yeah.
But he didn't even take it at home. He didn't take it at home. He only listened to whatever everybody told him. But when I would say, listen, you know, this and this and that, and I would say, you know, I was praying and I was reading the word and I was on my face, this and this and that, he would just look at me. And, you know, a wife is in Spanish, una ayudadora, it's a helper. So the reality is, I was to help him and uplift him, but he didn't see that part. He only saw the part where everybody else would tell him, oh, you know, because the best part was where it was like, oh, your wife is she has a Jezebel spirit. And it'd be like, no, dude, do you know what the Jezebel spirit has? Jezebel tells you what to do and points. The helper is a different. I'm helping you. I'm helping you to get to that place, because he did. Phenomenal evangelist. I mean, he could bring people to church. He would speak. But everything he said was dead, because he didn't take it on for himself.
Yeah.
So for
That's
me,
good.
it came to a point where, funny enough, I went to a Bible study one day, and I come home and, his ex is around. So, so that was where I was like, oh, heck no. Now I'm like, wait, you know, you got the red flags on, like, wait, this and this and this and that happened, and why is X, and why are you, and why didn't you go to Bible study, and why did you know this, and why? So I was just like, no. And that's when I was like, I'm out. I am out of this church. Sadly, church does exist. Some things happen to my girls, and I had to say, I'm out. And I left the church. And then they really said I had the Jezebel spirit, but whatever.
Yeah.
I actually decided I'm not going to go to church. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to know. I mean, I didn't even church hop. I just didn't want to know anything about church. And then all of a sudden, he just decided that it was a Thursday that we had the issue, and on Saturday he was moving out, and on Monday he was getting the rest of his stuff. So now I was like, what the heck, where are we going with this? So that's actually how I moved into Freehold, because I waited. That was in May, and by December I was moving back into Freehold to stay with my mom.
So you moved faster in the second time, which was good.
Yes, and the reason why, first of all, there was no kids. We didn't have real estate, and I walked in with 2 dogs. I walked in with 4 kids. I left with 4 kids, and I walked out with 2 dogs. So they were all mine. We didn't have anything, like when I tell you, and that was the other thing. Money was always separate. Like, you know how you said, oh, you know, he was a Christian man. Well, Christian ways are
Together.
your 2 become 1.
Yeah.
So that means also your finances. No, I didn't know how much money he had in the bank, because I had 4 kids, he had 2. So technically, I paid more of the rent because I had the 4 kids and myself, and I also had the dogs. And he only had 2 kids, so he didn't have to pay that much. So yeah, that's why the second time around it was easy. It was just like, oh no, we're
not doing that.
We is not
we ain't
doing
doing this. We're not going in a circle. This one.
No.
That's very good. For you, it's totally different.
To me, I have a whole complete,
We love you.
experience.
So
that
in
face.
my marriage.
yeah.
A whole complete. Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a chance to speak.
There was a lot of. There was infidelity. There was the porn section. Of course, like I said before, we didn't have. And the infidelity, it was from his side. I also I was unfaithful as well, but mine came from a hurt resentment.
This is on the first marriage?
This is on the first
Okay.
marriage bill.
Okay.
Yes.
I had to clarify.
So, yeah, no, we're speaking about divorce. So I
Yeah.
have to speak about that part, divorce, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it's just a lot of things that I've dealt with in that first marriage that it was just like, yeah, no.
So when the second time around, you got remarried. You would say you weren't in church yet. How was your relationship not having God the center the second time getting married and not being healed, even through the second time?
It was good for a while until it wasn't. Because when you don't heal, God will allow things to happen for you to
learn what He wants you
and
to learn.
honestly, that didn't happen too long ago. Like, I was good, like, not going to church, and we were fine, and things happen, and you'd be like, oh, yes, I'm happy, I'm remarried, you know, well, everything is good, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And then you still carrying all that baggage, all that trash, all the pain, all the hurt.
Yeah.
And God is still like, no, you're not good. No, boo.
Yeah.
You're not good. And then, again, things start going around, right? It starts going, and it's like a whole 360 all over again until He allow things to happen. And it's not so much like Henry, it's me.
Your internal battles.
Yeah.
So when you got saved, when you started, because so many times, like when you get married and you have God, so many times it's like, it's blissful. We have God. Like, everything's easier. Was that the case for you? Like, was it easier when you found God? Like, we're building our relationship. You're trying spiritually. I'm trying spiritually. So we're like, it's bound to be good.
No, you have those difficult seasons that you go through. I mean, when you're not healed and you haven't dealt with you and your heart, it's actually harder because you will go through those difficult in any marriage, right?
Yeah.
There's not such thing as a perfect marriage. You go through those difficult seasons. It just gets harder when you have all that baggage on top of you, because now you get triggered. And it's like everything that we've been spoken about and it's talking about in Reset Her, right?
Yeah.
You get triggered, and then you have to go back, and why is that triggering you? Well, this triggers me because of something that happened when I was 10 years old. And
That you never healed from.
Exactly. So now I'm not listening to him from trying to understand where he's coming from. I'm just connecting what he's saying through that to that wound. And it just makes things harder.
Yeah.
It makes things difficult.
But
it gets easier at the same time.
I was going to ask you,
Because
did it get easy?
Because it gets easier. I mean, it is painful, but it gets easier because now you have God in the middle. You have God in the middle. So, but of course, it requires two people wanting to.
Yeah.
Right.
That's this one. It requires two people, not just one, because even as being as faithful and reading the Word and everything, you need two people to come together and connect.
Yeah.
Because if not, you could be standing firm on His Word. But remember, that little joke of there's a devil and there's
Like angel.
Which ear are you listening to? And that happens to the men. For us it was wounds.
Yeah.
It was, and let me tell you, I know and I know it's from the female, right? All the women come with their baggage and stuff, but so do men, though. Let's not say men come in with a lot to baggage.
Yes,
men come in with
They need to do Reset Him.
insecurities. Yes, they do.
Need
For
to do
men,
Reset Him.
they come in with
insecurities.
Yes, they do.
They come in with insecurities. They come in like there's a lot of men that's still dealing with pornography, right?
Yeah,
They bring
lust.
that into the marriage, lust.
Even insecurity.
Even if it's abandonment issues, like mommy issues, daddy issues, they also need to.
I feel like that's such a misconception.
Which
Like,
is
men don't need to
crazy.
heal. I feel like men sometimes, because they internalize so much and they don't share a lot, I feel like men sometimes have to do more work because, like, it's not a norm for a man to share his feelings. It's not a norm for a man to be like, oh, I feel this and this and this and this is why I feel this. They feel like they have to internalize it so much more compared to women. Like, we let you know we feel, but it's like, men, it's okay to feel too, but like, you also have to work on yourself.
Like maybe
But you know what
sometimes
happens?
men-
I don't know for you, but perfect example. Both men one from El Salvador, one from Guatemala. So in Spanish countries, the man is macho.
Yeah.
You can't feel. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting their butt kicked,
No tears.
but you can't cry. The parents spanking them, you can't cry. You're a man. You have to take it. So funny.
I stayed away from Spanish, man. I'm sorry. I saw that.
That's why when Pastor Elijah be saying,
I
you know,
saw
he's
that
in
and
DR,
I'm like,
I'll be
no.
like, he gotta have papers. He gotta have papers.
See, I'm running towards
and that
Hispanic
was
men,
and
so
that was
I'm
the
like,
crazy part because second one had no papers.
Oh.
Second one had no papers. So
Did you give him the
no, because
I was like, no.
no. First he couldn't because he had gotten himself caught up in some stuff, but and he'd need like a really good attorney. But that's a whole other story. But the mentality. I mean, he came very young, so and he left his house very young. You know, he had to go work.
Yeah.
I mean, my first ex, intelligent, the man, you know, we laugh because Sharon will say to me, you're a numbers person. And I'm like, yeah, well, you need to know my ex because he was even better than, you know, like I'm good with like, you know, when you're throwing out numbers,
Yeah.
I'm listening and then I'm calculating. My ex would be like, "Dum," and you know, so the two of us together, that's why financially we were decent, we were good at the time, and our balance everything until he started doing his stuff. But the crazy part was the mentality from men from other country. Well, in mine, I mean, you're married to
I wouldn't know.
She married to a black man.
I would not. I mean, no, don't get me wrong.
Even culturally,
I
with black
am
men.
Hispanic, right? I'm Spanish, so I do see a lot of that. I do see a lot of machismo. Is that what we call it in
Yes.
Spanish, right? And yeah, no,
and
I
it's
stayed away
known
from
like, oh, you know, you having 3 women, oh, that's nothing. No, dude, you
a
know
lot.
what? You got to go get checked. Stop playing games
Yeah.
because it's not good.
Yeah.
But it's the way you're raised. But because for me, once again, going back, you have me that still has, you know, open wounds.
Yeah.
You know, there's no Neosporin, and there's no what's that new Band-Aid that they have that you don't need. You don't
skin?
need
they have the waterproof ones.
yeah,
they have
you
a
know,
whole bunch of
the
different
skin
ones
type
nowadays.
one.
And that's what we do, right? We
you
tend to
just
put a
put
Band-Aid
Band-Aid, you know,
our wounds.
over your
over
wounds.
it.
But it's still there.
It's
still
still there.
there.
And it's crazy because this is, and I'm taking it way back. I remember a pastora, she walked right past me and she said, you need to let that wound heal. And I just looked at her like, I'm thinking, what is she talking about? But she said, you keep going. Every time it's healing, you keep picking at it. And, you know, that's how my life was. You know, I didn't allow it look, it'll scar.
Yeah.
But my scars tell you something about me.
Yeah.
But it healed.
Yeah.
I didn't even allow the wound to heal. It was just like, here, it's
Yeah.
it's
Just-
open.
just poke
Yeah,
at it.
you could just poke at it and be like,
poke at it.
you know, like my granddaughter, she's the perfect one. She's like, oh, you got a boo-boo, and she'll touch it. I'm like, ow, she's like, stop. But that's how it was. It was just like, boom, press on it. And it's like, how deep can I go in?
That's good.
When do I allow you and tap you and say, no, don't do that.
That's good.
Yeah, but men need to look in the mirror too.
Now, Pastor, reset
They
him.
need to. They need
Reset
to look
him.
in the mirror as well because they don't like to be vulnerable.
No, they don't.
men
And that's
like to be
and that's so sad. Even like with my age demographic, it's just not a norm. Like I'm like, bro, cry, just cry.
That's why, and it's funny when you think about it, in the Christian realm, it's phenomenal because when you can see a man just like
Just cry.
cry, burgers and everything, you know, it sounds funny and
But, yeah.
disgusting, but the reality is cry.
Just cry.
You know, there's a song,
I don't.
yes,
No, I don't know
What's your
about
take?
that. I don't know about that because I've seen men come to church, go to the front,
no,
cry, be like
you're
this, and then they go home and
but
be their
there's
wife.
also women that do that. No.
Yeah, there is. That's true.
There's
That is
women.
true.
No, what I'm saying is when you're just letting it all out. Like
Yeah.
when I tell you, like that Thursday, that I just let it all out.
Yeah.
And to the point where, and I'm bringing it even to a couple of months when my mom passed away, when I cried. And I just cried and cried and cried and cried to the point where there were no more tears. And all I heard myself was going, that I had to like, you know how a parent goes, I'm going to give you something to cry about because all you hear is like, I did that. I cried. And that's how I cried at that Thursday. I cried to the point where there were no more tears.
Wow.
That it was just like, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, now let me expose myself, not to the congregation, but to you, God, because that's the other thing. Remember, God knows everything. I mean, his word says that he knows every strand of hair that we have, even the gray ones, the ones even that I try covering up.
He sees it.
He sees them and he knows them.
Yeah.
But when am I going to say, look, God, this is me. This is the real me.
Yeah.
You know the real me, but I'm exposing me.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm coming, how his word says in the book of Job, where he says, Job says to his wife, naked I came, naked I will go. Literally, that's how I am. I gotta be real.
Yeah.
Not to you, because you know what? You're listening to something about me that you're like, oh, I didn't know that about Kathy. So, but it's me being, like, for instance, coming here. If there's ever been a time that I've exposed myself, and here's the best part, that this is going a couple of months back when Deacon Henry, I don't know, he was saying something to me, and I said, I can't tell people my story. He was like, why not? And I said, because it's not meant for everybody to hear. He said,
Wow.
But they're going to have to hear it sooner or later. He's like, sis, they got to hear it. And I said,
wow.
no. I said, I'm not ready for that yet. I said, so that's why when I was like, so I won't be teaching Elevation Wednesday. Oh, Jesus, did I say that out?
No, I've learned. Listen, when it comes to that, I've learned, don't say no in front of Pastor E.
He gonna make you do it.
I think you just, okay, that's what we're doing. All right, I'm just gonna sit back here and just,
So,
because the more you say, the more he's gonna be like, okay.
challenge.
Yeah.
So
And he's probably gonna challenge me right now.
After he watch you,
our deaconess Laura.
Yeah.
louder.
No,
not
I mean, you just did it.
But it's funny because and
That's
even funny going to Pastor Elijah. I mean, not for nothing. When I first came to Hope, he called me out. Like he said, I haven't seen you, and he called me. He said, Kathy, I haven't seen you in years, and he hadn't. And he was like, I went up there, and he's like, he said, God said, stop running, because I was running. I was running from my calling. I was running from everything and anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you name it, I was running from it. I just didn't want. And when he said that, I was like, wow, why did you say that? And then he was like, the Lord is telling me to tell you, stop running. And the mentality is like, okay.
Yeah.
But I still ran because I didn't stick around. I went, like Deacon, I'm just throwing all the deacons.
Just all the deacons.
Throwing everybody under the rug, Kathy. We're going to throw you under the rug. We're going to throw her under the rug.
Deacon Reuben said, Kathy and Sharon, used to come to church, and it's true. Yeah. We would sit in the back, and oh my gosh.
Bellworks?
At Bellworks. We used to sit in the back.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal. It was just like, we sat in the back, service was over,
y'all left.
Out. It was like, I wasn't even trying to talk to nobody.
Yeah.
It was like, if I caught you, or you caught me looking at you, it was like, so I would do the smile.
Yeah.
So I would just do the smile, look at, because funny enough, if you ever recall, who was behind us was Pastor Jay. He was behind us, and so was Marcus.
They had the sound system, yeah.
So they were the only ones that were able to see and smile and say hi. And I would say hi, and then I would be like, bye. And we ran. So
see, you've become a runner. Back to you. And you're we love Deke. We love Deke.
Oh, Deacon
Henry,
Henry?
yeah.
Of course.
We love Deke.
Yes. We love Deacon Henry. Sometimes, I'm not going to lie, sometimes I'm going to...
She loves you,
But
Deke.
I love him.
She
but I
loves
love him. Yes, that's my baby.
So when you guys started, because you guys all came to Hope about the same time.
Yes, I came here.
You and Kathy came about this same
Kathy
time.
came like right before COVID.
I came before COVID.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I came like November. Like the first service that I came to was in November.
Yeah, so and now you guys are in like leadership. You're a deacon and deaconess. So, you stayed married. For you, were you scared to like, with like, especially with your relationship with like God, like, were you scared to put yourself out there with the church? Because you guys both said you guys had got church here and things like that. So it's like, were you scared to take on this role? Like, did you feel like they would judge you and be like, you're not qualified because you like, oh, how can you be a woman in leadership when you went through a divorce? You couldn't. Like the
I mean,
naysayers.
don't get me wrong. It's. I didn't care what anybody thought, to be honest with you.
That's good.
I got to a point where, and this has nothing to do with the church or anything.
Yeah.
In general, I came to a point where you're not paying my bills. I shouldn't be worrying about you saying about me. You're not sleeping next to me. Why do I care what you say about me? You haven't done absolutely nothing for me, so why am I even worried? But it was tough.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, when I did get with your deacon, I was judged. I got called every name on that book. If I have to tell you that story though,
Yeah.
that will be for another day.
Yeah.
But when I did get married with Henry, yeah, I was judged. I was talked about. I was, like I said, I was called every name on the book. And I'm sure that maybe a lot of those people were from,
The other church.
from the other church. So, but it's okay. You have to move on.
Yeah, you do. At the end of the day, because you just gonna let it stop you? Like,
No,
because then we wouldn't have
definitely
we
not.
wouldn't have Deaconess Lotta.
Definitely not.
We wouldn't. So it's like, did you have? Because Kathy had her friends, her different friends. Did you have friends like telling
Nope.
you, leave him, leave him, leave him?
No, well, maybe my family, but then I really didn't have any family here
Because they're in Costa Rica.
because they were all in Costa Rica. So I didn't really have like a big support system. I did go to. I remember telling my family a lot of the things that was happening, which that's a big mistake to do sometimes, to go to your family with your problems, just because you're gonna have them feeling some sort of way, but yeah, you just go back to the same person, and then they're feeling some sort of way, and you're over here just playing house. So it's just I didn't really have a
Support system.
support system. No.
Okay. That's,
Nobody ever told me to leave him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never
I wouldn't
really
say that either.
No, but I can
So-
say.
No,
secretly?
no.
And that's why
Okay.
sometimes you got to be careful too with who your friends are, because sometimes you'd be like, oh yeah, girl, leave him. Oh yeah, girl, leave
but
him.
okay,
That-
I'll
that
say
I never
this:
had.
wise counsel. Like, did you ever have counsel
Well, I did go-
telling you to leave
Well,
them?
like no.
No.
Mm-mm. I think anybody that will go, you
No.
go to for that will not tell you to leave.
Because
them.
usually the first thing they want you to do is try
Is
to
to
fix
try
the
to
marriage.
fix it.
Yeah,
marriage,
because
yeah.
I was watching Fireproof. It's a good movie. It's a Christian movie, and I just happened to watch it before I was supposed to do this episode. I was like, wait, that's coincidence. But in the movie, spoiler alert, so sorry. The guy, so sorry, but it's really good. So they were husband and wife, and the guy had checked out. He like checked out of the marriage, and he was working all the time, and he also had pornography issues. And it took the wife's like finally speaking. I'm like I'm done. Like, in a sense, she checked out the relationship, and she also started seeing some. Again, spoiler, I'm so sorry for whoever wanted to watch the movie, but seeing their dynamic and how, because you guys mentioned previous before we went in off topic a little bit, but you said it takes two.
Yeah, it
So
does.
in the movie, she was done. She was like, I'm over this. I don't want to be compared to what you're watching. If that's what you want, I can't do it. Like, she checked out. She went somewhere. So I was like, but the guy, he also checked out a little bit. But like his dad, you watched it.
Yeah.
His dad in the movie gave him this book where he was reading. It's like, you have to do it. In the book was like he needed to date her again. Get to know her, because they fell out of love, and like that happens.
And
There
you
are
have to be
books.
consistent. Yeah, you have when you trying to work on a marriage, you have to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that if there's no repentance and there's no really, anybody can say I'm sorry. If there's a word that I can stand, is I'm sorry.
Why?
I'm sorry doesn't mean anything to me if there's no changes. I'm a actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
So if you're saying I'm sorry, but then next week you're gonna go back and say the same thing, it's like, what are we doing? Why are you even sorry for? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, what was the question again? I lost my
Hey, I went off topic. You forget.
For the two quietest women, you guys can talk. But I was saying like you said, two people, like when you guys were going into the council, was it just you guys fighting for their marriage, or was the guy, the ex-husband, fighting as well? Like, did they want it, or did they check out?
The first time, we both went.
Okay.
But like I said earlier, there
Was there any
so
change?
much. He did change, but it was just for a
Like
little bit.
Like
It wasn't
temporary
something-
change. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, put the Band-Aid for a little bit, and
Yeah.
then, okay, now she thinks I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like they get you where they want-
Yeah,
they get
so
you where
let me
you-
switch
where they
it up,
want, and then, yeah.
So she wants me here in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay, because I am a morning person, so it's like, okay, she wants me here in the morning, I'll do the morning stuff. But I gotta say, I gotta work at night, and then at night you're doing whatever.
Right.
By the time you come home, I'm knocked out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was like, it's like, if
Yeah.
you go back
But
to
the
your
second one,
consistency,
no.
you have to be consistently fighting. Because the guy, he was ready to check out. Again, really good movie. I'm so sorry. But like, he was ready, because like, he was like, I'm doing all these things. I'm showing her I love her. I'm getting her flower. But in the one of the scene, he didn't pay for the expensive bouquet. Because in
The credit card?
no, like a bouquet of flowers. He
bouquet
got
of
the cheapest flower. Because in the thing, it was like, get her
He was
flowers.
using the credit card.
No.
because that I will say, when he was trying, he was using the credit card. But dude, that was my account too.
That was your. That's
So it wasn't,
it's like,
okay,
it
wasn't intentional.
It wasn't
wasn't
intentional.
intentional.
Yeah.
And here's the funny part, because like I said earlier about going in a circle and seeing the roses, do they need to be pruned? You want to put it on a vase? I don't need roses. I'm going to be honest. I love flowers, don't get me wrong. But I don't need the roses, because the roses are going to die.
I love flowers.
I love roses, don't get me wrong. So that doesn't mean, do not give me roses. But the reality is, the roses are going to die. So if you're trying to one day, like today, get me the roses just to have me all happy, it's Saturday, no, dude, I don't need the roses. If that's going to be the situation, then you know what? Both of us, because I will say, do I want to remarry?
I was gonna end that on a question.
Girl,
I was
you know you do.
I was like, do you want to get
I will
remarried
say-
again?
It's a yes and it's a no.
Why?
Yeah, no, because I did it already.
Right.
It's so to have children, I already have kids.
Yeah.
But God created us to be
Fruitful, multiply.
Yeah. Okay.
Relationship.
He didn't
No, no.
create us to be alone.
No, he didn't, and I that is the one thing. That is why I will say I would like a relationship. Yes, you know what, but no on the fact that I've already.
You just don't want that stress.
I don't.
But like, let's say God do have, because it's always it's like a push and like pull sometimes, like when you get a divorce or you've been married, it's like, but like, are you open to a new? It could be a really good, healthy relationship. Like it could be like a new,
I will say
new
he
experience.
has to be equally yoked with me.
That's very
number
important.
one.
Yeah.
Number two.
Yeah.
I have to see the fruit. I can't, you can't come to church and
Just by what
and
they're
just
saying,
lift up
yeah.
your hands
It don't be
because
nothing.
I'm hungry.
Me too.
My stomach's growling, but it's funny because you could stand up and lift up your hands.
Yeah.
I have a friend that, she said she lifted and she would say, Lord, I don't know what I'm lifting my hands up, but I'm lifting them.
Yeah.
So for me, you can't get to that point where you're lifting up your hands and I'm like, that's the man. No. And like you said earlier, you can't be crying and stuff like that because
We need more.
something that people don't realize, women, we go based by the ear, by hearing. Men go by sight. So you ever see a man that's like, he's not nice looking, but he got this beautiful woman. You're like, oh my God, because he speaks beautiful. But he also treats her beautiful. Because remember, not
true.
because you're such a beautiful woman, there are beautiful women that feel that they're ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, or you have women that are thin
Yeah.
and they're still not happy because they see themselves as heavy. But for me, I need somebody that's equally yoked with me, that is at a same page, and that I'm not carrying you. We're walking together this walk.
Yeah, it's a
This,
partnership.
We're walking this walk together, and you know what? When I fall, I need help. You know, like right now, my back is messed up and my knee is messed up. So you know what? I want a good massage. I want you to take care of me.
Yeah.
I will take care of you in you know, it doesn't even have to be sex. I mean, cooking. If you know me, I don't like to cook, but I will cook for you. I know how to cook. So, you know, that helper, I'm helping you because I'm helping you get to that place where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
That man. And if you know, if you've ever read any of the books or even watched any of the sermons of Dr. Miles Monroe, he speaks on marriage, and he speaks about the husband on the role.
Yeah.
I do. I want somebody that's strong. And I'm not saying he got to be physically strong, but he does have to be physically strong. You know, going to the hospital on Monday, there was a man there, and I'm not saying he was my husband, but I couldn't get out of that chair. He helped me get up. So I need you not only to help me get up from a chair, but I need you to build me too, because you know the man makes the wife.
Yeah.
We lift you up
Yeah.
in prayer. So for me, I do. So if you have that man, okay. But if there's not that, I'm sorry.
I ain't got no
I am
options.
at that place where I'm good.
You're okay.
And you know, some people are praying like, "Oh Lord, I want my husband." No, I'm not praying. That is
She's not
my
her prayer.
That is not part of my prayer.
Kathy is not.
No, I just feel like you have to finally get to that place where, you know, like at that place where she's at, where she's just
Meet me where I'm at.
exactly.
And
you know, that's where you have to get to.
Wherever he's at, he's gonna find me, because you know
Man
what?
that finds
The word
a-
says it.
Man that
Man
finds
finds
a
a
wife
wife
finds
finds a good thing. So he's gonna find me, and it doesn't even have to be at Hope. I
Yeah.
mean, look, you know, Laura and we're always at different churches.
Yeah.
You know, with
Pastor,
Pastora.
yeah.
So who knows? I mean. But it's not that I'm going to their church. But the reality
He has to
is,
follow. He has to come to Hope. We can't take Kathy.
Not from Santo Domingo.
no.
Can't take
I
Kathy.
said, no, let me I said, and I've said it to Pastor Elijah, if he's there, okay. I don't have
gotta
any
have
trip. I don't
papers.
have any trip to DR
The Dominican
recently,
Republic.
but that I have programmed or that I'm thinking about. I am going to Mexico in May, but
Ooh.
they gotta have papers. that paper is number one. You got no papers, and hello, especially nowadays where
Yeah.
we're at with the with the
Yeah.
presidency.
Yeah, seriously.
You need to
Yeah.
have papers because.
No, he's
No,
gonna
no.
be there on vacation.
You're right. Vacation.
Okay, he got to be on vacation. He got to be a man of God, because there's other people on vacation. But no, it would be nice because the reality is, yes, you know, my kids are getting older, so they're obviously, you know, 2 already married, and I have 2 at home, and I do expect that the day of tomorrow they get married. And I don't want to be in a house all by myself. You know, I'm in a house, you know, where. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I want.
Kathy, she's not looking, but if it were to appear and you have all those standards, she will welcome you.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, so we'll say that.
Are you looking?
So I'll end with this. Is there any advice you guys would give to a woman who, let's say, is struggling to whether or not to leave her marriage? But not just a Christian woman, but like a Christian woman who is struggling. Like, I know God, like I'm doing these things, I'm in my word, but like this man that I marry is not the one for me anymore. But like I don't want to leave, because in the church you don't get divorced, you fight till the end. You stay, but like there are certain circumstances where they allow you. So like, what would you say to those women who are unsure?
Okay, so I saw this, and I'm gonna read it. It's not
Okay.
too long. Okay.
Okay.
One thing is that if in every marriage, at some point, you're gonna look at your significant other, and something is going to annoy you. Like I told you, at some point, right?
Yeah.
At some point, you're gonna feel like you fell out of love with that person.
Yeah.
So you have to know, you know, that love is a choice at that point.
Yeah.
You know, but I saw this and I thought of, it was like, when people are in the, do I leave, do I stay, right? Most of the people will tell you to, pray about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a difference between fighting for your marriage and being destroyed by it. Okay? Marriage is a covenant, but it was never meant to be a prison. Some people tend to hold on to something that is raking you because you think that leaving means you're failing, which that is one of the reasons why I didn't want to, feel like I was failing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but what is it that is costing you? If your spouse lies, cheats, abuses, belittles, manipulates, and refuses to change, you're not in a marriage. At that point, you're in a prison. We know God hates divorce, yes, but he also hates abuse. He hates oppression. He hates seeing his sons and daughters being trapped into something that is crushing or destroying your spirit. The problem is that there's people out there that will weaponize scripture for you to stay or to keep you in bondage, right?
Yeah.
So marriage is worth fighting for, yes, but you can also not fight alone, which is when we talk. It takes two people.
Yeah.
Two people for you to be able to fight for your marriage, and if not, then you're just hurting yourself even more. If they refuse to change, refuse to repent, refuse to seek help, then you're not walking away. They already did. We know God can restore your marriage, but he will not force a heart that refuses to be changed. So we need to stop we need to also stop mistaking suffering for faithfulness.
That's good.
And if you're living in hell, stop calling it home.
That's good.
So
That's a good way to end.
So if you are being cheated on, if somebody's crushing your spirit, if they're telling you, hey, yes, I'm going to change, and they change, and that change is only temporary, and they continue to do the same thing, and at the same time you're trying to heal and trying to move on, at that point, yeah.
That's good. That was great way to just end. I'm gonna need that too. That's good.
Okay,
That's
I'll
good.
give it to you.
Do you guys want to say any last things? Any finishing?
No, but the one thing that I'm really, and I keep stressing it, and I'm sorry that I keep saying the same thing, and I'm sure I probably say it all the time, but really before you even consider getting into a relationship, and this is not just for the women, this is also for men, make sure you take the time to focus on you, to focus in your heart. You cannot expect somebody to be your peace if you're just going to go and get into a relationship and be toxic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So go find your peace before you go ahead and ask somebody to be my peace.
That's good.
So just go heal, deal with anything and everything. Go look at yourself in the mirror. Let God restore your heart. Let God heal your wounds before stepping, because it's not fair for the person that,
Yeah. That's good.
And I would say, if anything, not for nothing, counseling.
Yeah.
Seek counseling. I did it, and I tell you, it's phenomenal. It was a big taboo where I was going, because the reality was, the mindset is, you pray about everything. Pray, 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 pray. You're not in the Word. You're not in the Word. No, I was in the Word.
Yeah.
Seek counseling. Have friends. And the biggest is just be honest. Be honest with yourself. Number one, date yourself. If there's one thing I tell you, date yourself. I tell you, shout out and kudos to Sharon that taught me. She would say, Kat, you gotta date yourself. And I didn't understand that. Like for me, it was like, how do I go out to eat by myself? But learn what triggers. Start watching yourself on, when you're watching a perfect example, you're watching a movie and you're watching something, and it makes you cry right away. That might be something that you don't realize that you had. That something might have happened back in the day, and you didn't realize that happened. I mean, but learn yourself, learn what you like, learn what you don't like, and say you don't like it.
Yeah.
And don't rush. Yeah.
And don't rush
And
into
don't
to
rush.
anything, because reality is nowadays, when I was growing up, it was like you were married at 21, had kids at 23.
Yeah, they put like a
it was
time-
like a time limit.
Like a time
now, it's-
limit. No, just take your
American
time.
women are phenomenal. They wait into their 40s, their 30s. Why? Because reality is you get to know who you really are. I mean, I didn't know who I was, but
And if God have already spoken over,
yes,
just wait. Just wait. Focus on you. Focus on your growth. Focus on your healing. Focus on all of that, and then you can go ahead and start. Because then you can go into like the financial part, right? Make sure you're
Yeah.
financially stable.
All
make
that-
sure
all the
this
nitty-gritty
other
of it,
good
yeah,
stuff,
the
right?
nitty-gritty.
Focus on.
and say what you want brought to the table. Don't allow just like I said before, that I was bringing it all to the table and you were bringing nothing, because
Yeah.
for me, on the divorce, don't stop. If look at yourself first. Look and can this marriage work? I'm not saying marriages can't work.
Yeah.
A divorce, that's, you would think that I'm the person that would say, get divorced because I've been divorced.
No, I've never told
That
anybody
is
to
the
get
last
divorced.
thing I tell someone.
Never.
You know what? Seek help, seek guidance. If you're in a good home-based church, speak to your pastors. Don't assume we know, deacons or pastors, associate pastors. Seek help.
Yeah. And if you're putting 100% into your marriage or your relationship, and the other
And that's
person
it.
is just giving you 75%,
No,
don't
it's
step
100 and
out to go
100.
look for the 25. Make sure you go and you water, right? That relationship. Not everything on the other, what is the saying?
It's not always green on the
That's
other
Right,
side.
not
on the
everything
other
is always
side.
green on the other side. So just go ahead and water.
Yeah, it's 100, 100.
100 and
And
100.
then you become one.
That's good. That was a good conversation, guys. I didn't think it was gonna go that long. Good conversation. I need to talk to y'all more. But
Well,
we'll talk at dinner because they're hungry, guys. So thank you guys so much for saying
yeah, thank you
yes,
for
even
having
though
For having us.
it was scary. I'm
it was
really
very
was
scary,
scary.
but
yes, I
like I
appreciate it.
text you, it was time.
It is time.
I'm glad you can share it on here.
It is time. We're the one of those, like you said, we're like the very quiet ones, including Sharon, right?
Yes, you guys. I should get Sharon.
So sharing,
Nah.
especially me, I've never shared my story with anyone,
Yeah.
really.
So I
And
appreciate
there's
it.
still a lot more, but
Yeah, there's still a lot more, but
I appreciate you guys sharing and being
appreciate you.
vulnerable. And I hope this blesses someone. Because, again, this episode was not for me personally, because I don't know anything about divorce. I hope I never really understand it,
No, you won't.
of divorce. But thank you guys. And I really do hope whoever it is you're struggling with, whoever this episode was meant for, I really pray it helps you and to take these ladies' advice. And yeah, I'll see. We're almost done with our relationship series, but I'll see you guys next week. And again, if you don't have a home church, Hope Worship Center in Aberdeen, New Jersey could be a place for you. So come and stop by, say hi,
Yes.
meet some of our
Come visit us.
amazing deacon and deaconesses. So, and I'll see you guys in our next episode. Have a great day.